Much has been said about Kevin Parker and his ultra-successful psych rock project Tame Impala on the internet. There are stories of discovery, in-depth analyses on Kevin's music and lyrics, and much more discussion all over YouTube. In this video though, I wanted to add to the story of how Tame Impala started and the origins of the project's humble beginnings in the most isolated capital city in the world, and my personal hometown, Perth, Australia. Kevin Parker was born in 1986 in Sydney, Australia, to parents of South African and Zimbabwean origin, but moved west with his parents for work-related reasons as a child. They initially lived in central Western Australia gold mining town Kalgoorlie. His parents unfortunately broke up while living there, and they both decided to move to Perth to co-parent in a bigger city with more opportunities. Kevin shared his time between his mother's house in Mount Lawley and his dad's house in Cottesloe. His father was a passionate musician and moonlighted in a cover band that played the likes of the Beatles, the Beach Boys, and Supertramp. This love for music influenced Kevin and piqued his interest in learning drums initially, then guitar, as well as how to multi-track record on his dad's tape recorder. As a child, he began to experiment with songwriting on this tape recorder, putting his ideas down on his dad's device. As he became a teenager, Kevin began to act out like many of the children from broken homes. He was caught with marijuana in his room and had some minor theft incidents. This caused his parents to restrict him from socializing with friends who may have been considered bad influences. Despite this, Kevin continued to bond strongly with one school friend named Dom Simper. The two John 23rd students would often share their musical ideas and play guitar together. As a young adult, Kevin left home, started uni at his dad's insistence, and worked as a law clerk. He never fully immersed himself in these endeavors though, as his mind was constantly thinking about music. It was at this time that he would entrench himself in the local Perth music scene, often attending live shows in Northbridge, Subiaco, and Fremantle. He would also dabble in several musical projects with his friends and housemates. His main personal project was a classic rock-style band called the DD Dums. Initially, this was a two-piece project with Kevin on guitar and vocals, and his friend Luke Epstein on drums. His childhood friend Dom Simper would eventually join the band as a bass or second guitarist. As the DD Dums gigged locally, they were able to meet other local bands and become friends with a group called Electric Blue Acid Dogs. This band was fronted by Nick Albrook and managed by Jody Reagan, who also managed a modestly successful Perth band called the Kill Devil Hills. Kevin eventually became a member of Electric Blue Acid Dogs, who changed their name to Mink Muscle Creek. He lent his talents in both guitar and drums when required, and also convinced Jody to manage his other band, the DD Dums. Kevin also spent a lot of time in his own personal homemade studio recording his ideas despite being enrolled in university. He uploaded these ideas to a MySpace page under the name Tame Impala, and the songs were discovered by an Australian independent record label called Modular. They were looking for the next big thing in Australian rock, and after the success of one of their biggest recent signings, Wolfmother, must have liked Tame Impala's similar influences of classic rock. Modular actually rang Kevin Parker up when he was on his way to an exam for uni, telling him they liked his songs and asked him if he would consider releasing music with them. After that phone call, he turned his car around and never attended the exam. In 2007, Kevin recruited Jay Watson away from his northern hometown band, the Novocaines, to play drums for the newly signed act of Tame Impala. He later convinced Mink Muscle Creek friend Nick Albrook to join on bass so that Dom could play guitar. In return, Kevin agreed to play in Nick's new band, Pond. In 2008, Tame Impala released their debut EP under an independent label called Hole in the Sky. In the same year, they would release their big label debut with Modular. The entire second EP was made up of songs as far back as 2003. Kevin had sent all of his recordings to Modular, stating that most of the songs were never meant to be heard by the rest of Perth, let alone the rest of the world. Their second self-titled EP would garner attention from Australian youth radio station Triple J, and the lead single Half Full Glass of Wine reached 75 in that year's Hottest 100. After the band's growing success, Kevin Parker would produce his own debut LP, once again under the name Tame Impala, and the rest is history. The LP reached number 4 in Australia, and was given accolades by reviewers all over the world. Tame Impala have since gone on to become one of the biggest rock bands in the world, and continue to grow their fan base with each new release. Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. My name's Liam, and on this channel Solitude I talk all about Australian and West Australian music. So if you want to see more about this sort of content, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.